to pray. There's no angels where I go, only pieces that are broken, scattered dreams across the floor. I'm home.
Alrighty, hello everybody. This is Kirusho here. Now, I believe that it will be quiet in my house, so I will be recording now. So let us begin. Whenever we last left off, Midoriya had just been through 2 of the 3 portions of the sports festival. The only thing left now are the battles. As the teams are announced, Izuku Midoriya's team, first place with over 10 million. Second place is Bakugo's team, actually with somewhere around 2,000 to 3,000 points. Shinsho's team is actually a bit higher, actually in 3rd place, with somewhere at least around 1,900, while Todoroki's team is actually down in 4th place, with at least 16 to 1,700. Now, Todoroki is still pissed off. And, well, yeah. He's just staring down at his other hand and trying to think. The guy's actually starting to make a good point. He probably could have defended a lot better if he did use his fire. Then again, those things I don't believe are fireproof. And neither are my teammates. Now, this is whenever Ojiro's team would actually progress. The only reason Ojiro isn't pulling out is because he can have a rematch with Midoriya. And he is at least swallowing his pride about that. Meaning that Kaminari's team will be, well, I would say out, but I'm not sure exactly who is on I'm not too sure who is on Shinso's team. So whoever was on Shinso's team in canon is changed around. Now, that basically means that Kaminari's team isn't Kaminari's team. It's basically different people. So as to not confuse me. That sounds like a cheap cop-out, but it kind of is. And I don't want to pause the recording just to go check. Anyways, now, the first match is announced. Izuku Midoriya versus Shinsho. As soon as it is announced, Ojiro would have tried pulling Deku aside and telling him to not speak with that guy. If that guy tries asking you a question in the ring, don't talk with him. Because as soon as he talked to that guy, he blacked out. And he's not too sure as to what his quirk is. Deku is telling Ojiro that it'll be fine. Whenever they do walk into the ring, it's going to be put on the board, so he'll know exactly what it is. But hey, I'll at least take your word for it. Just don't lose before a rematch. Now, this is when Midoriya would have walked into the ring, and at least see what is going to happen. This is going to be getting a lot better. Since as soon as he does walk in, his name is on the screen with his quirks. Then Shinsho's name is on the screen. And it does show his quirk, brainwashing. Now, as soon as Midoriya does see that, he does at least think for a second. If the guy's gonna brainwash him, then he's gonna have to make this quick. Ojiro said it's whenever he talked to the guy. So that might either mean that he can just invade my mind without him even meaning to or trying to, or, well, he has to say something to me, right? There's gotta be something to his quirk. Him slowly beginning to mutter before he does at least show himself up. And just tell himself to focus. As the match will begin. As soon as President Mike announces 3, 2, 1, go, this is whenever Shinsho will begin to talk with Deku, or at least try and pull a few words out of him, telling him that Class 1A is really lucky, and that they were lucky to be born with strong quirks. Then again, from what I heard you talk earlier, you understand exactly what it's like to be powerless, and not be seen as a normal person. Isn't that correct? Deku's eyebrow at least twitching, as he does bring his hands up. Shinsho expecting him to bring up his fist, but he would just open his hands and fold them behind his back, basically telling Shinsho to come forwards. Shinsho a bit confused, and at least thinking that Midori is a bit crazy. So, he doesn't need to use his hands to fight me, is that correct? As you begin to walk forwards, and think that this is going to be far easier than I thought. But is he going to use his quirk or anything like that? Him just beginning to start talking more, and trying to pull things out of Midoriya, yelling and screaming at him as Midoriya just starts to walk forwards. And he does begin to juggle his feet, basically jumping upwards on one leg and then rapidly moving back and forth, as if he's running in place. Shin's still kind of confused before Midoriya does actually run forwards, and go to swing on his leg. Him backing up and then understanding what he's doing. This guy's trying to mock him or trying to embarrass him, right? No, wait, if he was going to do that, he would use his quirk and knock me out immediately. Something like that, right? As he begins to try and at least dodge more. Midoriya landing a solid kick and then beginning to at least knock him around a bit more. Before Shinsho would be able to at least smack him in the face, or at least try and hit him, yelling at him more and more. Until Midoriya does kick him hard enough to knock him toward the ground. Him laying there and actually a bit more hurt. Coughing a bit before just saying that you 1A class guys are beginning to piss him off. And they don't know what it's like to be powerless. They've always been put on a pedestal because of their quirks, not even called a villain. Do you know what that's like? Midoriya's eyes and face begin to get visibly angry, as he would just bring his hand out from behind his back and wrap him up in Black Whip, and drag him to the right, throwing him out of the ring. As he would finally break, saying that he understands completely. Whenever he was younger, he always trained idiots, and he always, as he'd be brainwashed, and stop immediately. Shinjo just annoyed. Why didn't he break earlier? Him letting go of it before Midoriya would just resume what he was about to say. He's been training his entire life. In fact, he's trained in so many martial arts that he knows a lot of different things. His techniques, yeah, they're pretty powerful too. Besides, I wanted to give you a fair fight. Why do you think I wasn't using my quirks? Until you decided to start going more and more, annoying the hell out of me. Besides, I could have just knocked you out, dude. Shinsho at least understanding this. The guy thought that a fair fight would just be him using his feet. So what does that even mean? Multiple martial arts? Okay. As the next match would be Ojiro versus Sero. This one actually being a bit more surprising, since as soon as the match does begin, Sero would begin to at least talk with Ojiro, saying that this is going to be pretty intense, right? Yup. Well, good. Him going to throw out his tape. Ojiro actually being able to dodge it, and beginning to run around him. Sero throwing out his other arm as he does actually try and wrap around Ojiro. As soon as the tape does touch Ojiro's jacket, he would have thrown his arms out of his sleeves, and just begin by catching the tape in the air, and tossing it to his right, hitting the other tape that is already on the ground. Basically binding Sero's arms, he does try and pull his tape out more outwards. So he'd have to try and detach it before Ojiro gets to him. Him not being able to do so because Ojiro would be able to knock him to the ground and actually start dragging him through the tape, hitting him around and taking him down fairly easily. The match being over with Sero basically stuck in a pile of his own tape. Now, Ojiro would win. The next match, Ibarra versus Kaminari. Just like in canon, it would happen, it would fail, and it wouldn't be very easy. As the next match, you do have, let's see, Kendo versus May. That does work. Actually, no, let's say Kendo versus Ida. May would have just dropped out. Now, with that being said, Kendo versus Ida would be a very different fight. They would be thinking that, oh, Ida's gonna win because he's got that reciprocal burst thing, right? Yeah, not gonna happen. Now, where this match does begin, Ida would have been ready, going to rush forwards and run around the ring. Kendo doing one thing. As soon as she thinks Ida is going to be directly in front of her to try to push her out, she would jump upwards into the air. And Ida would just slow down. Go to stop his legs as he jumps upwards, going to actually grab at her, or send at least a kick into her face, or into her body. Her bringing her hand backwards, and Ida understanding what's about to happen. Her throwing her entire body weight into her fist as she enlarges it. Being able to hit Ida and smash into the ring. The fist pulling her down as she smashes directly onto Ida, knocking him out and breaking possibly a few bones. Him ending up having to go to Recovery Girl's office to be healed. Now, the next match would be Todoroki versus Mina. This is going to be a bit different, since as soon as it does begin, Mina would try and run around on her acid, while Todoroki would have immediately thrown all his ice and catch her in it. Her being able to melt through it before, well, yeah. Eventually she would have been caught and actually just thrown out of the ring. As the next match would be Momo versus Tokoyami. The match actually going just like in canon. Tokoyami winning. And we have the next match. Hardboy 1 versus Hardboy 2. Just like in canon, Kirishima will win. And the next match being Bakugo versus Ochako. The match going a bit more like in canon, except Bakugo does get a bit more hate. Except this is from Deku, who tells Bakugo that he should have played it a bit fair, and to not be an asshole like that. Now, the next match, Ojiro versus Deku. This one actually is a bit curious. Kenda's the only one who saw these two's previous match who are in the arena. And well, yeah. Everyone at Deku's dojo, who are currently watching this, is at least thinking that this is going to be insane. As it would begin. President Mike just saying that this match is going to be fairly weird, right, Mr. Aizawa? Now, this is whenever it would begin. Ojiro and Deku rushing towards each other, going back and forth with different martial arts, along with Deku switching between his kickboxing and his mixed martial arts. Basically, mixing all of his techniques together. Ojiro, he's throwing around his tail, using his entire body weight in the swing, which is something Deku has at least learned about. There's a move called the Dempsey roll, and he would begin to use it. Deku's saying that he's seen Ojiro do this before, just a different way. Him bringing his hands up like a boxer and beginning to move back and forth, rushing towards Ojiro without his quirk. Ojiro a bit confused as he would go to block Midoriya's fist. Midoriya cocking back his left arm and putting his entire weight into the punch. As Ojiro go to block with his right arm, Midoriya jumping up off of his right leg and coming in with his other arm, smashing it directly in Ojoro's face. Ojiro actually being knocked to the ground, getting back up and trying to defend. Deku using the Dempsey Roll technique to take Ojo down over and over and over again, until Ojo would have been able to get a solid block in. However, that would not be very good, since this tactic already isn't good enough. Deku actually breaking his arm whenever he does block the punch. Ojo smashing down into the ring and actually having to get back up, trying to fight more before Deku would have taken him down. Ojo does have to move a certain way. With a broken arm, he's off balance, and Deku would win. As the next match, you have Ibarra versus Kendo. And well, as soon as they do step into the ring, Kendo would have just said that this is actually going to be an interesting battle. She does seem like a worthy opponent. Ibarra just saying thank you, and that she's actually a bit happy that she gets to fight with her. She thought she would have been stuck up against that engine guy. I know the feeling. Trust me. If you do win this match, though, it's not going to go easy for you. Huh? Why? Well, you saw earlier, right? Yeah. What about it? Yeah, you're not going to win against him. Okay. The match beginning. A few people actually cheering Kendo on, along with Deku. As soon as Ibarra goes to use her vine trick, Kendo would have ran to the left and begin to rush forwards. As soon as she does run in, she would have thrown her right hand, going to smack Ibarra until vines do wrap around it and stop her hand, her shrinking it and pulling her hand back outwards, swinging her body weight around and going directly for her. As whenever she does get close now, she would throw out her hand, trying to do so again before enlarging it. The vines beginning to wrap around it before she does shrink it down and throw her body weight completely to the left. Ibarra a bit surprised by this. Kendo coming in and hitting her directly in the side with a kick. As soon as she does get back on the ground, she would have rushed forward once again, grabbing into and actually pulling Ibarra upwards by her shirt, and slamming her down into the ring, pulling her hand backwards as she basically does hold her down with her legs, telling Ibarra to give up before she does actually have to, well, enlarge her fist. Ibarra saying no as vines begin to at least sprout from her head, trying to attack Kendo. Kendo enlarging her fist and basically slamming it downwards on her head, or at least covering her face and her body, basically trapping the vines beneath her hands. Aizawa basically just saying that that move is technically legal, since it is a use of her quirk. Now, with that being said, the next match would begin. Todoroki versus Tokoyami. Yeah, that does not go smoothly. Todoroki using the same tactic over and over again. And, well, it working. Bakugo's fight. Bakugo versus Kirishima. These two would begin and Bakugo would be a lot more aggressive, letting out some of his pent-up frustration against Kirishima, basically blasting him around the ring a lot. And even whenever he does unharden, Bakugo would just be blasting harder and harder, actually hurting Kirishima physically. Him hardening back up as Bakugo would have thrown out and bring out his hand, holding an explosion in it as it began to spark more and more, turning into a giant ball before he does actually just throw it outwards, and blast Kirishima away. Him being sent flying, smashing through and hitting through the wall. As he doesn't stop there, you can clearly hear him hit through a couple more layers, until he finally does stop. People just looking at Bakugo as he does at least hold his hand outwards. And he is taking deep breaths. So, he has gotten better with his quirk. Good. Now, the next match. Deku versus Kendo. This match is actually a bit more surprising, since Deku and Kendo are going to be using their quirks. As soon as they do walk into the ring, they would have bowed at each other and begin. As they were rushed forwards, Kendo actually throwing her hand outwards and Deku turning on one for all. These two meeting with a solid punch. As they would begin, throwing their body weights back and forth, trying to use the Dempsey rule against each other, finding it a bit more confusing and odd. As whenever Kendo does throw her arm backwards and goes to enlarge again, Midoriya would have actually thrown out his other hand and wrap her hand up in Black Whip as he yanks it downwards. Her hand immediately hitting onto the ring as Midoriya rush over it and be able to throw his entire body weight into her, being able to smash into her and knock her onto the ring, as he would have done a flip and immediately kick her upwards into the air. Her being sent airborne as he would just jump upwards at 40%. Everyone watching him bring his hands up and immediately smash down into Kendo. Her being sent flying downwards and she would smash and land outside of the ring. Midoriya actually recovering for a minute, as he begins to fall down. Him landing outside the ring and checking to see on Kendo. Kendo seems to be okay, but she does have to go see Recovery Girl, actually being taken away on a stretcher, since the battle was a bit more intense than they thought. Now, Midoriya would have at least checked on her while the next match is beginning. The next match being Todoroki versus Bakugo. Now, with that being said, the match would go a bit like in canon. Todoroki fighting against a stronger Bakugo, but at least using his ice. Now, meanwhile in Recovery Girl's office, Kendo is hurt, and Recovery Girl is out right now. Deku actually a bit more sorry for what he did, and he does at least think. Before there's a knock on the door. Midoriya opening it and seeing a man just standing there. Him kinda confused as the man does at least take off the hat. Him seeing the Francis Deku. The Deadpool Deku. Now, Deadpool Deku would just say that if he still has that vial, then you're going to want to use it. Only one drop will be enough. What are you talking about? Your girlfriend's injured, kid. And if Recovery Girl does have to heal her, she might actually get hurt a lot more. Besides, at least with that, well, shit I gave you, she won't have to worry about the effects of anything afterwards. Him basically just barging past Deku and actually just holding up his left hand. The vial. Deku kinda confused goes to put his hand into his pocket, asking where did he even get that? How did he even... Kid, I'm a different version of you from a different reality, and that's the question you're asking me? Him walking over and pulling out the eyedropper, putting in a little bit of the liquid and actually just pouring it, or at least dripping it onto Kendo. Kendo glistening with a bit of, well, an odd glow, and then completely healing. Her actually going to stand up as Deadpool Deku within a split second would have handed this over to the real one, or, well, the original from this dimension, and basically just disappear in a portal before anything could even happen. Confident Deku still trying to understand this. So, this is what it's for. That's interesting then. Wait a minute. As he does look at it, a single drop was able to heal her wounds. That means I don't have to hold back. Him at least smirking. He doesn't need to hold back against the next person in the next match. Hopefully it's Todoroki. Now, this is whenever, outside of this room, it would be announced that Todoroki Shoto has won. Now, the way Todoroki won was a bit more complicated. he would just be blasting ice around, yeah. But eventually, he would have had to turn on his fire a bit, since he is slowing down. Basically melting away the ice on his body, and just going back to throwing it around more. Endeavor not really sure what he just did, since he did basically get a second wind, unaware of what Todoroki did. Now, for the final battle. It would be announced that Izuku Midoriya and Todoroki Shoto are going to be fighting. As whenever they do hop into the ring, Deku's mom is cheering him on. And it would be announced that the Quirk Prodigy, as it's called, versus the Son of Endeavor. So this is going to be very interesting. Deku just telling Todoroki that this is his last chance. Use your other side, or I go all out. Todoroki just saying that he will not do that. If he does, that just means this match will end faster than he does think. Deku just saying, fine. As the match will begin. Todoroki going to throw out more ice as Deku would just bring his hand up and flick out his finger, setting a 100% smash into this ice. And Todoroki would feel the entire shock of as it gets blasted backwards. A bit confused, looking at Deku just holding his hand up, along with actually bringing his other hand into a fist and actually starting to pop his knuckles. Just holding it up, saying that he has more than 10 shots. So come on. This is going to be easy. Todoroki a bit confused. He's willing to break his own fingers? No. Deku just thinks one thing. If he does math correctly, or is at least thinking correctly, this might get interesting. Now, Todoroki throw out his ice more, Deku being to just smash over and over and over again, until he gets rid of all the fingers on his right hand. And he just thinks that he really hopes that this is going to be perfect. Otherwise, it's probably going to get him out. As Todoroki just begin, throwing out more ice as Deku does actually throw his entire body weight into his left arm, and send a smash at 50%. His body weight, combining with the force of One For All's punch, is, well, a bit of a math question. And it would have actually sent some of this ice careening backwards and upwards. Todoroki basically having to dodge out of the way, as he just begins sending more and more. Deku just beginning to do this over and over again as he would have actually thrown his right arm this time. Todoroki rushing forward and actually trying to get Midoriya. Deku rushing forward is all full cowling as he would have actually sent up a kick directly up into Todoroki. And he would have tried to dodge. Todoroki going to blast at ice. Deku using his broken hand and actually beginning to smash up a fist directly into his face. Him going at a low percentage. He wants to get Todoroki to use that fire. He wants him at his best. If he's not at his best, then he'll just throw him out of this ring in 10 minutes. Now, Todoroki, he would have been sent flying with his punch, recovering with his ice as he actually does look at Deku, asking him why is he doing this. He could have sent him flying, but he didn't. Why? Todoroki, you don't think, as you begin to walk forwards, bringing up his left hand with Black Whip, and throwing it outwards with his left arm, swinging from right to left, saying that you don't think anyone's worthy of that fire. You don't think anyone can use it or even fight it with it, except for Endeavor. Todoroki just blasting his ice downwards and setting himself high, up into the air. Deku just telling him that, as he rushes forwards up at Todoroki, smashing directly into his ice pillar with his left arm, saying that you don't think anyone can use that power. I want a fight, Todoroki, not a fucking spar. Todoroki a bit surprised, and he's falling down toward the ring. Deku actually rushing towards him as he actually does kick him directly into the gut. Well, in his gut, sending him smashing downwards into the ring, as he would have bounced like a fucking ball. and he would actually begin to cough up a bit of blood. Deku leaning back downwards as he tells Todoroki that he wants a fight. Him actually just throwing up more ice, and Deku a bit confused. He's up in the air. Shit, he doesn't have time. Him charging up one for all in his right leg, and kicking it up as hard as he can, with 100%. Smashing the ice and immediately just sending it flying everywhere, in tiny chunks, as a shockwave cuts part of the stadium roof in half. Everyone a bit shocked as the number one hero began to make his presence known, actually jumping in the way and protecting civilians. Looking back at the ring to see Midoriya, smashed downwards and actually landing on his broken leg, before actually falling downwards, and him actually just standing back up. Getting back up onto his broken leg, telling Todoroki that he doesn't plan on losing. So come on! Now, Todoroki just be staring at Midoriya. Broken fingers, a broken leg, now what? As his hand begins to shiver, coated with ice. Deku just saying again that if he doesn't use that power, then guess what? I'll give you a matching scar. Now, him hearing this would just get pissed off. And he would just tell Deku that if he wants that fire so bad, bringing up his left arm, saying that he should just take it. Blasting it completely at him. Him trying to, well, see how Deku likes it. Deku just bringing up his left hand and snapping his fingers, dispersing the fire immediately, telling Todoroki to come on, fight! Todoroki rushing forwards, with both sides using both quirks. Running straight at Midoriya, who is running at Todoroki with full Calling on a broken leg, as he actually just smashes a hand upwards into Todoroki's gut, him going to blast fire directly at Midoriya as he would just throw up his right arm, and smash his arm directly upwards, the fire going upwards into the arena, and directly above the ring. As people are just watching this, surprised, Midoriya cocking back his right arm, and putting all his weight into this punch, smashing Todoroki across the face as he would have been actually sent flying. Deku just telling him to try harder. Come on! Now, Todoroki would have just gotten back up, and see the look on Deku's face. Deku just looking at him and saying that quirks are physical abilities, Todoroki. Black Whip manifesting on his left arm. As he would just bring it up, and just tell Todoroki that if he doesn't try, as his entire hand would just be coated as if it's a glove, saying that he's not going to win. Todoroki blasting as hard as he can, harder than he's ever had to blast ice in his entire life. This ice he sends out directly towards Deku is twice the size of the one he sent out against Zero in Canon. Deku actually a bit annoyed, as he just threw up his left arm, and punch directly as hard as he can and break it, sending this ice flying away, as he's basically just standing there, directly looking at Todoroki. Rushing forwards as Todoroki is confused. Deku throwing out his hands as Todoroki do the same, going to blast at his fire and his ice. Deku grabbing onto his hands as he begins to burn through one of his hands and cover his other one with fire. Well, cover the other one with ice. Todoroki a bit surprised as Midoriya would just cock his head backwards and smash it directly into his face, along with throwing up his broken leg and directly smashing him out of the ring with it, before he actually just fall downwards, and throw out his right hand to land on the ring. People just watching as the person who won the sports festival just did so after breaking 2 to 3 limbs. How is that even possible? Midoriya's nose and face coursing with blood. One of his hands with 2nd to 3rd degree burns, the other one covered in ice. Being rushed to Recovery Girl's office. As whenever he gets there, Recovery Girl is just telling him that he was very reckless, and that she'll perform surgery if she needs to. along with the fact that Deku just broke his nose. With One For All. He did not know he could do that. Now, with that being said, Midori would have just told Recovery Girl to get the container that's over there, pointing with a broken finger. Her grabbing onto it and asking exactly what is this. It doesn't look like any medicine or anything she's ever seen before. Him just telling her to put a drop on him. Trust him. Someone said that this will work. Her not really sure what this is. And just doing what Midoriya asks, since, well, she can heal him or she can let him see how stupid this is. Her doing so thinking it's a crazy idea and being surprised when Midoriya's wounds completely heal. And he would just get back on his feet. After this, weird pink glow is surrounding him. Her kinda confused and just staring at this. Going over and putting it into a, well, observation thing. I'm not sure what they're called. And looking at it with a microscope. Kinda confused. Midoriya taking this vial and just walking away. Her wanting to ask a question about where he got that from. As whenever he does walk out, people are surprised to see him. Already on his feet? Damn. The nurse at the school is no joke. Now, with that being said, Midoriya would be given his medal. Todoroki in second place, along with being pissed off. Endeavor running onto the field and actually trying to talk with Todoroki, wanting to congratulate him on getting over his little rebellion. And that he should be proud. That Fireside will be as Todoroki just watches something come across his point of view and slap his dad, sending him actually flying backwards onto the ground. Deku being seen with Black Whip, as he does tell Endeavor that he needs to stop that. The only reason your son used your quirk is because I forced him to. Not because of you, not because of anyone. It was his choice. Endeavor going to scream directly at Midoriya. Him throwing up his hand again and wrapping a Black Whip around his face, covering his mouth. Telling Endeavor to just nod if he understands. He's not your weapon, and he's not some fucking thing to use against heroes. He's your son. Now, as he actually just bring up his other hand, saying that he can break this again if he needs to. He's not afraid to do so. Besides, it'll probably give you a good lesson at least. So, are you going to listen to your son, or are you going to deal with me? Before Black Whip does Lucy, and Endeavor is a bit more, well, surprised. All Might did have to step in, so that means that this kid was at least pretty powerful, right? Well, as he would just turn to Shoto, saying that he's done well for now, but he will be sending him an internship, so at least take it. Along with looking back at Midoriya, saying that he's sending one his way. If you truly think you can beat me, then I would like to see you try. Now, with that being said, this is whenever the sports festival will be over. Kendo running up to him and asking exactly what did Recovery Girl do. Well, I'm not really sure. I'm kinda surprised too. Him at least trying to play this off. Kendo, she, well, is at least aware of what that vial is, since she did at least see it in her vision, before she did pass out. Along with that strange guy with short hair. Who was that? Anyways, now, I do believe that that is the end of the video, and I do hope you guys enjoyed, and have an amazing day. I'll catch you guys in the next part.